Hey everyone, it's Brandon from Tattooing 101, and we are back with another Back to Basics tutorial. Over the last few months, we've gone over line work and shading tutorials. Now we are going to continue with Back to Basics for colors for tattoos. The lining and shading tutorials have been a huge success. It was able to help a ton of people understand the fundamentals to be able to do a tattoo correctly. So therefore, we decided to go all the way and do these tutorials just for you. So if you found these tutorials helpful and would like to learn more about tattooing, sign up for the free email list. This way you have access to more free tattooing knowledge to help you along your way of becoming a tattoo artist. I'll leave a link in the description below. Now we can dive straight into the basics of color tattoos and everything that you need to know before doing a color tattoo. So when it comes to doing color tattoos, there's a couple different things you want to think about. There's going to be the size of the needles you're using and also the gauge of the needles you're using as well. So when it comes to the style, I use curved mags for pretty much everything. Color, black and gray, pretty much any style that I do, I'm going to use a curved mag because I'm able to use the corners of the mag to get into hard to reach areas without slicing up the skin. So usually when I'm doing color tattoos, I'm going to use standard needles, so 12 gauge cartridges. As you could see here, this is a 12-15 curve mag, so a 12 gauge 15 curve mag. This is a 12 gauge 15 curve mag as well, and a different brand of cartridge. And then here is a huge one. This is a 12-45 curve mag. So these two right here are different sizes. You can see that this one's massive, this one's smaller. So on bigger pieces, I'm going to use something like this if it's like on a back piece so I can cover more area. The biggest thing to think about is that you're using the biggest mag physically possible for an area that you're doing. Now we could get on to bug pins. When you're thinking about a bug pin needle, usually in the tattoo industry, it's going to be a 10 gauge. Technically speaking, 10 gauge is a 00. But this is something that most tattoo artists, when they're talking about bug pins, they're going to be talking about a 10 gauge cartridge. So keep that in mind. It's not the correct appropriate term for things, but in the tattoo industry, that's just what they're called. So this one right here is a smaller one. This is an 11 curve mag that is a bug pin. So the gauge of the needles are smaller, so it's going to put smaller holes into the skin. Also going to reduce saturation just because there are smaller holes. I could get really clean, smooth blends when I'm using these with color, but it's also going to be harder to get into the skin. So keep that in mind. For more traditional stuff, I'm going to use the standard for color packing standard. If I want to get smooth blends or I'm doing like neo-traditional, I will use bug pin cartridges for that. Now moving on to the tattoo machine that I use for color. So I use my Bishop wand packer. It is a 4.2 stroke, so I recommend using a 4mm stroke. Around there, 3.5, you're able to do these things. It's kind of a middle ground, but I always feel like 4.2 just makes it a whole lot easier. I'm able to push really big cartridges without any issue at all. So this is the machine I use, and I would recommend going with a 4mm stroke machine for doing color packing and color in general. So in terms of tattoo machines, if you're looking for a budget machine, I would recommend the Injecta, just because you are able to change out the cams. You could get one for about $400 to $500, so you don't have to spend $1,000 on a machine. And you're able to change it depending on the style you want to get into. So that is a middle ground machine that works really well. I've used them throughout my whole career. Injectas work really, really good. And if you're looking for a lower quality budget tattoo machine, if you're just trying to learn how to tattoo and just practicing with it, I recommend checking out Easy Tattoo Supply. They have a couple on there that you are able to change the strokes of the machines. So that would be my advice on going in with like a more budget-friendly tattoo machine. But if you're not working with a tight budget, I highly recommend going after the Bishop wand packer. I'm able to do a ton of different stuff with this machine, and pretty much every video you see me using the packer because I love it so much. I want to know, do you guys use any of the machines that I'm recommending? And also, what else you would recommend? I'd love to hear in the comments, so leave a comment down below and I'll check them out and I might do a review on the specific machine you're talking about. So now that we've covered the cartridges, needles, and the machine, let's get into the ink and color that I use for tattooing. So the brands that I recommend when it comes to tattooing are going to be 3 that I've used throughout my career. So it's going to be Eternal, Fusion, and solid. Pretty much all of the colors I use now are going to be solid colors. I really like the colors that they have available, and they work really, really well for the way that I tattoo. So this is the brand that I use. I'm able to really smooth these out and get them into skin tone, but I also do use a few eternal colors as well. The biggest thing you want to think about if you're just wanting to start out with an ink pack is just get basic colors. You know, the ones that you're going to see mostly. Red's going to be a big deal, yellow. Traditional colors will get you a long way when it comes to tattooing. So pick a basic ink set, which Solid, Eternal, or Fusion does have, readily available on plenty of different sites like Kingpin, and you're able to pick up a small set to be able to practice and get used to using color, because color is completely different than almost any other style of tattooing. You know, it's different than black and gray, the way you put it into the skin, and some colors are harder to use than others. So these are all things you want to think about. And when you're going after a brand, you need to make sure you're getting genuine products. If you're not getting your inks from a reputable website, they could be knockoffs of the brand, and you need to ensure that all these products are up to code and genuine when you are buying them. You don't want to have any problems with them being unsafe to use on actual clients. So avoid getting them off Amazon. Most of the stuff on Amazon is going to be fake. As a rule of thumb, you could get them for the same price going with a reputable brand. So I just go through Kingpin or Painful Pleasures for pretty much all of my ink purchases, and that way I know 100% I'm not buying a fake, because they're getting really good with making fakes out there. And there you have it. That is all the basics that you need to know in order to get ready for the color tattoo videos coming out every week. If there's anything that I've missed or anything you would like me to go a little bit more in detail about, make sure you leave a comment down below, so that way I'm able to check it out. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on next week's video, which is all about color packing and blending. So make sure you don't miss that video when it comes out.